When you're buying a home and you know of any friends or relatives that are you buying a diamond or are you buying a lump of coal? I've been doing home inspections now for 23 years, so I have the knowledge and experience that counts. I'm Yale and Harrison Property Inspector.
Good deal. Jim.
Hey, good morning, everybody. It's been a while since I've been here. I was former GLMV member and just moved in here to Vernon Hills plan on starting back up. So it's good to see everybody again. I'm Jim Sauser. I'm Sauser Insurance and Investments. And what I really specialize in is helping people retire. I'm a certified retirement planner. And what really gets me going is really I help a lot of business owners, especially medium to small business owners who don't think they can retire. We kind of go through all the numbers, do all the planning for them, and what they realize is that they'll be able to have the retirement they've always wanted. So that's what makes me feel good, and that's what I like to do for people.
Oh, Ray.
Good morning. I am not a Big Ten alum, but I am the promo man. If you're looking to promote your business, or if you know someone else that is, I'm the guy to call. If you're familiar with a lot of the military types, we are doing a lot of challenge coins now, but we also can still do face masks and hand sanitizers, coffee mugs, anything that you can have your logo. So if you're looking to promote your business, or if you know somebody else that is, give me a call, because I am the promo man.
Promo man.
Yeah. Dennis.
Let me come off mute here. I'm a guest today. Do you realize that disengaged employees are costing you upwards of 18% of their salary? 18% of their is pretty much a lot of money to anybody. You want to be the leader that brings that 18% back? I'm Dennis Mellon with Be a Bean, and I want you to be the coffee bean that transforms your team from ordinary water into gourmet coffee. I deliver actionable content in my Power of Positive Leadership training. And if you drop your name in the chat, I hate to throw promotion stuff in here, but I'll send you 4 actionable items you can use today, because that's what it's all about. And you guys thought it was the hokey pokey that it was all about.
Well, you're cheering for Iowa also, Dennis?
I'm sorry, what?
Are you cheering for Iowa as well?
No, I'm an Illini guy. My
Okay.
son went there.
We'll go on to the next one then. Tom, you're up. Thomas.
Hey, Thomas Godfrey, Thomas Group. Get the guard for worry-free IT or fixed monthly fee. And I say worry-free. I'll take the worry, you get the fee. Oh, worry-free.
That's good. That's good. And we got Bruce all the way back from his kitchen. You're
I
up.
had to
Bruce.
get some chocolate chip cookies this morning. So either way, so I'm glad Yale is no longer using the common phrase, I know a thing or two, because that's not an impressive amount of things to know.
What?
Dave?
So, and actually that's a line from the musical Tootsie. So I'm Bruce from Blue Sky Video Productions. I actually had Dennis on my show yesterday. He was in Lightning. We went through 8 or 9 common forms of leadership. And I actually am going to put a link in there to actually take a short little quiz on identifying your leadership style, or your favorite leadership style, because he pointed out that there are a number of ways and times that different leadership styles are important, even at one point the authoritarian leadership style. So again, I am Bruce with Blue Sky Video Productions. I have a weekly live stream show on Thursdays, and it's a Lightning. It's got great guests. And if you're looking to promote your business and get yourself out there, you can ask to be a guest on my show, or even better, create your own show and be your own authoritarian. I'm Bruce, Blue Sky Video.
Good deal. Thanks, Bruce. We got Scott.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Sorry, I'm not joining you via video, but I'm running around, but wanted to make sure I tuned in. I am a local lawyer here and stand by for Todd's bi-monthly lawyer joke after I get done talking. I focus on small business planning and representation and estate planning.
Good deal. Thank you, sir. And is there anybody else? We got a couple of guests, right? Let's see here. So I'm Todd Renahan. I've always talked to you about risk and investments. Another risk that we sometimes forget about is our taxes. You have a chance to convert a portion of your IRA into a Roth IRA, which means when you take that money out, it's tax-free. Or you can start a Roth IRA. I'm not an accountant, but I do help you with retirement plans. And if you have not contributed to a Roth IRA or you have not done your taxes this year, you have the benefit of being able to contribute today for the 2020 Roth IRA. You then file your taxes, then you can contribute to your 2021 Roth IRA. So you would have gotten $14,000 in a very short period of time. And if you're married, it would be $28,000 in there, assuming you qualify from a tax rate. But I'm Todd Renahan with Allstate. Are you in good hands? Carol, what have you got going for us today?
All right. Today we are so fortunate to have with us a veteran sales leader. His name is Rick Tazak. Tazak, I think we pronounce it. How do we pronounce it?
Tazak.
Tazak. Okay, Rick. Sorry about that. Rick Tazak from Century Sales Solution. He's a fairly new member, and what's so exciting is that we really haven't done a sales presentation for quite some time. So when Rick came on board, we thought, well, he would be great to kind of kick off the sales seminar type presentations and really kick us into gear and get us thinking more on how we can help our businesses and how we can really increase our business too. So introducing veteran sales leader Rick Tazak, who will share how he assists businesses that want to see sustainable growth through a more effective sales operation. Plus, he's going to discuss some roadblocks to sales success and more. So I'm going to stop my share, and then Rick is going to share his screen. So welcome, Rick. You're on.
Thank you, Carol, with that kind introduction. I hope I meet the expectations. Here we
You
go.
can share. There you go.
Okay, everybody can see that?
Yeah.
And hit from beginning. There you go. You got it.
Okay, terrific. Well, again, good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. As Carol mentioned, I'm a recently came on board with GLMV. And so I want to say thank you very much for the opportunity to speak today. And what I'm going to talk about is different aspects of driving sustainable growth for small to mid-sized businesses. So, I believe that every company strives, or at least has the desire to get some level of sustainable growth, okay? But along the way, there's often roadblocks. And to achieve the type of growth companies are looking for, I'm gonna spend some time talking about the state of small to mid-sized businesses, some of the common roadblocks that we see that impede sales success, and the importance of developing a solid sales infrastructure that can drive this sustainable growth. Okay, afterwards, I'd be happy to answer any questions, okay? So before I start, and since I'm new to the group, I'd like to give a brief introduction of myself. I'm president of Century Sales Solutions. I was born and raised in Joliet. Have resided in Hawthorne Woods since 1996 after a couple moves around the country. Married, my wife is Lori. I have two daughters, Emily, who lives in Palatine, and our youngest daughter, Kylie, that lives out in Los Angeles. Education-wise, I have a degree in mechanical engineering from Western Michigan University. So professionally speaking, my current role is an outsourced VP of sales for small and mid-sized businesses. And I utilize the sales acceleration sales advisor platform as a methodology. There's approximately 125 other sales advisors around the country that incorporate this platform in their practices as well. I have over 30 plus years of sales experience, primarily on the technical side, 25 years experience at the VP level and up, and I've been responsible for sales up to $180 million. The core industries I've been involved with throughout my career are manufacturing, distribution, engineered systems, machinery, and industrial automation. I do want to say that I'm not tied to these industries from a sales advisor perspective. I believe that the methodology I provide transcends across most industries, okay? The fundamentals, whether you're in a B2B or B2C environment, apply basically across the board. So what I do is I help owners of small and mid-sized businesses take their business to the next level with hands-on consulting and sales leadership. And I think most importantly, why I do this. And I think where I'm at in my career, I want to share my experience and help make a positive impact on companies that struggle to grow their businesses. And I think with all the running around I've done across the country throughout my career, this provides an opportunity also to build stronger relationships at the community level. That's very important to me as well. From a focus area on my current role, I dive into sales strategy, sales process, sales execution. And when you distill this down, it's about people, purpose, process, and performance. So, what are some of the things we hear from small to mid-sized companies? Okay. Flat sales, not sure what the sales team's doing. Too much of our revenue is dependent on a couple customers. There's misalignment with the sales team's pursuits versus our corporate plan. A lot of our business comes from referrals, so that demonstrates kind of a reactive approach. And when you whittle all this down, it really centers on a lack of consistent sales leadership, a lack of executing fundamentals, a lack of proactive approach to the served markets. And these are really the byproduct of a lack of a solid sales infrastructure. So when we engage with clients, prior to initiating the engagement, the leadership of a company will take a what we call a sales agility assessment. And basically, what it does is it provides a baseline for effectiveness, okay, where they're at that point in time. And it covers the four areas on the left: strategy, methodology, analysis, and sales organization, as well as the subsets that are on the right, okay? And once the assessment's taken, a score is made, the company will get a detailed report of the findings. And basically, that score represents a baseline. And it also compares the score to others that have taken the assessment, as well as best practices, okay? So there's really a starting point and something to aspire to in terms of shoring up some of these areas. And I want to say, not every company that takes the assessment is necessarily deficient in every one of these categories. However, even if you have deficiencies in one of them, it could have a cascading effect on the output of the other ones. Okay, so these are basically all blended together, and having these solid fundamentals in place will get you off to the races. So based on the assessments for 2020, and I think the 2021 or the assessments are on their way for 2021, but for 2020, these are the results. And as you can see, in every category, there's significant shortfalls. And these shortfalls really provide some insight into where the deficiencies exist to take companies to the level that they want to go. So again, the whole impetus behind this is to have an understanding of where to start on the road to improvement. So as we saw, there's only a small percentage of companies that are at optimal sales performance. And even companies that are showing growth, they may be satisfied with their sales, but are they at their potential? And often you have a case here where a company may have won some business that could be considered a one-time event, okay, kind of an anomaly. And there has to be a situation here where the company is mindful of this, in that, is this going to be reoccurring business? Is this a one-time event? And if it isn't going to be reoccurring business, how are we going to fill the gaps? Companies that are struggling, they have frustration. They want to know, why can't we grow? They're not sure how to get there. So the key thing here is that there probably are some roadblocks in different areas. And the whole purpose is to identify what those roadblocks are and come up with the right solutions to fix the problems. So the road to success. Understanding your company's sales agility provides the fuel for positive change. Again, it's a great starting point, great benchmark, something to work off of. I think we all know in business, there's occurrences where the marketplace does impact certain aspects of business that you may not have control over, okay? But a lot of companies have control over their sales growth more than they even realize. Some of this may have to do with internal issues, such as a lack of market or competitive data, not knowing where they stand in the marketplace that they're looking to serve, lack of processes, okay? And perhaps even insufficient messaging that isn't attracting customers that they're pursuing. Few of these things are broken so badly they can't be fixed, okay? Most of these things are fundamental. To use a sports analogy, it's blocking and tackling. They can be fixed, processes can be put in place, but it's important that they're practiced and they become innate. And the quicker people understand where the problems lie, the quicker they fix them, the faster they are to sustainable growth. So I'm going to start off here on the next few slides. Each one of them has a couple of common roadblocks that we see, okay? And then at the bottom, underneath them, are some of the ideas on how to fix them, okay? So this one's very important. Sales metrics are not clearly defined. I think it's very important to have a blend of leading and what I call lagging indicators. Lagging indicators are events that already occurred, okay? If you're looking at orders, if you're looking at sales numbers, if you're looking at your gross margins, okay? Very important, but they've already happened. They're kind of in the rearview mirror. They need to be coupled with leading indicators, which is your sales pipeline, opportunities and the value of those opportunities that are being developed. Where they're tracking in the sales funnel, okay? And also other leading indicators by the number of opportunities acquired from new customers, all right? Everybody needs to understand the metrics. They need to know what a good result is and a not so good result so that proper adjustments can be made. And having good data indicates performance, okay? It takes out anecdotal information or gut feeling. Very important to understand and to practice. The other thing that a lot of companies come up with is that they don't really have a clearly defined sales process. All right. Each step must be clearly defined, clearly stated, and should be in writing. All right. It should be everybody singing off the same song sheet. And based on this, there should be a common language, a common understanding of what this process is all about and how to execute it. And based on the process, a very integral part of it is having the ability to create accurate sales forecasting. Sales forecasting really has an overall impact on the entire company. It has an impact on when and whether a company can invest. They may need a new piece of equipment or something to help ramp up business. Or it may determine how much inventory is required to satisfy orders that have been placed. And lastly, it definitely has an impact on cash flow. So creating a solid foundation helps a company navigate through, you know, like we saw in 2020 with the pandemic, these upsetting conditions, and gives you an idea of where you're at and what adjustments need to be made or what adjustments can be made going forward. These next 2 points have a lot to do with sales leadership. I've always believed that you really have to create a dialogue as a sales leader with the salespeople that you're responsible for. You have to understand what makes them tick. You have to understand their strengths and weaknesses. And you have to create a positive environment through coaching and regular one-on-one meetings so that you have a certain cadence to these things that people feel comfortable with, and it creates a means for a more open dialogue. I've often, you know, seen situations where sales managers get their people on a call once a week, they talk about numbers, and they set them off on their way. And there's really no hands-on coaching. And some people may be struggling out there, but are afraid to come forward with it and discuss it with their sales managers. So there has to be that personal connection and that deal there. I've always said to people, I'm going to do everything I can to help you be successful. And all I want in return is the same effort. And if we have that, we're going to be on an even playing field. And if one side's kind of giving more than the other, we're going to have an upset condition, and it's going to require a discussion. So I really believe having the opportunity to have the one-on-one discussions at least once a week goes a long way. And the same thing holds true with sales training. I think it's very important that sales managers spend time with the reps when they're facing customers. It gives them an opportunity to see the sales rep in action, and they can assess maybe some areas that need to be tweaked a little bit. In addition, with everybody being unique and having different skill sets, I think customized training is very important. It's very important to focus on areas that need to be coached up to help the salesperson's performance improve. And then be consistent. Stick with a plan. Stay consistent with it so that people aren't making assumptions. They know where everything stands. There's transparency. The communication goes a very long way to managing and having a successful sales organization that has respect, that has accountability, and that has buy-in with the strategy going forward. Some other things centered around, excuse me, sales management. There needs to be a formal review process. I think, there's a lot of cases where managers don't like to address the elephant in the room. But I think if these things are addressed up front, you're on to fixing the problem and not letting things fester. Again, communication will drive accountability. Okay, everybody has to own what they're responsible for. And doing reviews on a quarterly process, or I'm sorry, a quarterly basis helps maintain focus. So you can discuss the activity that's taken place, where the performance is to plan, and what adjustments need to be made to keep things on track. Another thing that's very important for small, mid-sized businesses is the implementation of a CRM system. There are several CRMs out there that are tailored to small, mid-sized businesses. I think they're very effective. It's a great mechanism to understand where opportunities lie in the sales funnel, what steps are required to advance them. It provides an opportunity to collect information that may be very helpful with marketing campaigns that provide the right messaging to the right people at the right time. And it should be a point where all this data is kept so that sales and marketing efforts in the B2B space, marketing is becoming more integral in the sales process. Having this data in one area provides much better access to it. And I think, again, it keeps people in lockstep to what activity is going on and how to satisfy that activity to maintain, happy customers. Business is becoming more and more digitized. Customers out there spend more time researching prospective sellers. As a matter of fact, there were some reports that were done that demonstrate in the B2B space, buyers only spend about 17% of their time with actual facing with sales reps. The balance of the time is spent on internal discussion and researching available technologies or products out there that they can use. So if your customers have all this data at their fingertips to make decisions, it behooves companies to take advantage of the use of data and incorporate it in your sales processes. Again, some of the other roadblocks that impede progress: no effective pipeline or forecasting tool. We talked a little bit earlier about how important forecasting is on the overall dynamics of a business. But having the sales pipeline and having an effective one helps align the cost with expected revenue. It provides leading indicators to the state of business, present and future tense versus past tense. And again, it's a very key input to overall business planning. That could be, throughout the year. And most importantly, it could be on planning for the upcoming fiscal year. So I've seen a lot of companies that, again, having a reactive approach, don't take advantage of properly tracking their business activity and knowing what adjustments need to be made in their pursuits to winning these opportunities. The other point is the sales team's not aligned properly or is not organized properly. And one thing I could say as a starting point, it's very important that a lot of thought goes into the hiring process. And this has to do with understanding not only the skill sets required from an individual, but their attributes. And are their attributes aligned with the culture of the company so that it's a good fit? All right. Every team needs a leader. I don't believe managing a sales team can be done without primary focus. You need a leader. You need someone driving the direction, someone that the others can lean on for direction and focus and help when they need to improve some skill set deficiencies. And always think about a virtual bench. Always kind of be on the eye, looking out for talent that's out there that may be a good fit for the organization, especially when companies are starting to realize growth. Okay. Keep an eye out again for those people that have the skill sets, the attributes, and would be viewed as a good fit for the organization. And finally, the last two things. One that's near and dear to just about every salesperson is compensation plan. In a lot of cases, it's not incentivizing or motivating for the desired behavior. I've built a number of sales comp plans throughout my career. And the first objective was always how to align it with the company's goals, to make sure it was motivating, make sure it was achievable, but at the same time, it had to be in lockstep to where the company wanted to go. And in a lot of cases, the plan can be revised every year. The objectives change year on year. Sometimes there may be more emphasis on selling a particular product in a new market or creating new customers. And these new strategies or tactics must be considered as part of the comp plan, and it must be understood. The compensation plan should be clear, and they also should be in writing, and they should be very simple so that at any point the salesperson can know where they stand. And then lastly, not just should the comp plan be aligned, but the sales team needs to understand or be aligned with the company's goals and direction, okay? As the quote says, the probability of hitting your goal is much greater if you have one. So if the sales team knows where the company wants to go, that's going to have a direct relation in terms of how they go about their pursuits and what direction they go in. And to have a good plan and to have alignment with it, it also requires that there are specific deadlines, there's accountability, and there's numbers associated with it. So these are some of the things that, like I said, often crop up with companies struggling to get to where they want to go. I don't think that these roadblocks are insurmountable by any stretch, but they take some focus and they take a plan. So if an organization is going to build towards sustainable growth, the key is to have a solid sales infrastructure. Okay, the three elements of it are strategy, process, and execution. Basically, strategy is the why, execution's the what, and what often gets overlooked is the process, and that's the how. And that's the essential element. Having those fundamentals in place and working off that strategy and executing properly, I can assure you, will get companies to where they want to go. But all three of these things have to be intertwined and they have to be working together. You can't offset one and try to make a go of it with just two of them. All three of these must be in place. So, lastly, how can I help? All right, what I focus on for businesses is the strategy. These are some of the things within the strategy that are built out. The sales process, the planning, the forecasting, lead generation, lead qualification, sales process documentation. As I said, it should be in writing. If there isn't a sales leader on board, or there needs to be one put in place, I can provide help with sales leadership, recruitment, and onboarding. Also the compensation plan and evaluation planning. And how I do this is a couple ways in terms of client engagement. I can build out this sales infrastructure and help implement it with an existing sales leader. If it's been determined that sales leader needs some seasoning, I can also provide sales coaching as well. I'm a certified sales leader. And if there isn't a sales leader in place or someone that could really drive this on a regular basis, I could provide that on a fractional basis for a predetermined time to get everything built out, implemented, start showing the results, while a business owner can have some time just to put a search out for a sales leader that they may ultimately want to onboard. So these are the things that, you know, again, are the cornerstone, are the key pieces to driving sustainable growth. So in closing, you know, the items I addressed, I'm not sure they were earth-shattering. Hopefully they were helpful. Hopefully there were some tidbits of information that could be applied. But basically, they're just fundamentals that aren't continually or consistently practiced. And they have a cascading effect on the other things that, the other activity that occurs. Building a solid sales infrastructure, I think, will eliminate the angst that owners feel when sales are stagnant or heading south. And I believe if properly implemented in practice, can propel a company on a path to sustainable growth. So thank you very much. And if there's any questions, I'd love to hear them.
Rick, do we have any questions there for Rick? Okay, well, thank you, Rick. There's definitely a few pieces of the puzzle. I think last year was a good example of that. Better be able to change and make sure you know what you're doing.
Absolutely,
Can you stop
absolutely.
the screen share? And then we'll get Carol back onto the agenda there.
All right, I'll put up the agenda here. That was a great presentation, Rick. Great, a lot of good tips and nuggets in there. And I think people can follow up with you if they have further questions. So thank you.
Please
And I
do.
will
Thank
put
you.
up the, we'll get back to our agenda here. There we go. So, okay, Todd, you want to take it away from here?
I guess that topic ties right into our next topic, the biggest threats to business. Needless to say, I think we had one last year. Don't need to go over that example. In my world, March 23rd, the stock market hit the low for the year. Low for a long time. It was down 34%, but it did not end down 34%. That's a great example of you got to have your processes in place, as Rick had said, and I think we all know and learn from our conversations for success meetings is you've got to be able to see that change, whether you wanted it or not. Nobody signed up for COVID, I don't think. That said, okay, here's the sandwich we've been delivered. How are we going to get through it? How did everyone do last year? I know where we were this time last year, but how did we end up in the year? Did we end up just spiraling downward, or did we come back to even, or did we accelerate? How did everybody perform?
I was actually I was actually down by 34% last year. And a big reason for that is that just trying to be careful, you know, because you got to have people go in and out of houses and all that kind of stuff. So everybody was being careful. Right now, I'm pretty back to my 2019 numbers as far as income, but not sales. So to me, that's kind of good because I'm not going crazy, just getting bored. You know, the biggest problem we have in our industry right now is that we have a lack of homes to sell. And I've got people that want to buy new properties that own a home, but in order to buy a new property, they've got to sell their home. Well, in the past, we had this thing called the home sale contingency. Well, none of the sellers are taking it now because if they put their home in the market, it's gone within a day or two, if it's nice. So it's cut down the amount of homes that we have to sell right now, but I'm looking forward to the future.
I think last year showed a lot of resiliency by a lot of people, because you know, it was such a struggle on so many levels that I think people demonstrated the ability to pivot and come up with solutions to move forward. And you know, I think that's a tip of the hat to every business owner. It was a very challenging time for most of last year.
I ended up having my 07 Suburban died a few weeks ago, so I had to get a new vehicle. And the Toyota dealership that I was at in Libertyville said that although the numbers were down, the profits were up just across the country. And it's in part due to supply and demand. People had to pay the sticker or above. I think the same is true on the home sales too. I talked to a gentleman, one of my clients down in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Ended up having he got the house for 10,000 over, and they moved up to closing about a week. So things are definitely moving fast. So you may not sell as many widgets, but the profit margin, are we seeing the profit margin is higher or the same, even though you may have less widgets out in the marketplace?
I think a lot of people are looking at how to contain costs. So if they saw sales going down or forecasted sales going down, they looked at ways to contain costs. I mean, I just read something today, the GDP was supposed to wind up for 2021 at 4.5% increase. Now they're anticipating 6.5, which is terrific, but because of all the, through these relief plans and so forth, all the money that's been poured into the economy, there's also concern, about inflation coming, and that's going to have an impact on business. And supply and demand for raw materials and so forth. So, understanding these dynamics and locking in pricing and doing what you can contain costs, I think offer a good baseline in the event that sales are slowed by some of these events.
Good point. Bruce, you see a lot of different businesses around the country as well. Anything that you could maybe shed some light on what your businesses that you've dealt with around the country, how they were impacted as well as yourself?
One of our biggest clients is actually here in Lake Forest, and their stock hit an all-time high just a few weeks ago. And so they're growing, and they're a manufacturer of corrugated boxes. And so I guess with the increase in shipping, there's an increase in demand for boxes. Another company I've been working with is they make pizza liners. It's basically a sheet or a piece of material that goes between the pizza and the box to keep the box crispy. And they've seen a lot more sales because a lot more people are doing takeout and takeout pizzas. And so they've gotten a lot more customers, so their sales are up. Another company is a cleaning service. They go in and actually maintain the cleaning of facilities, and their business is up. So those are 3 examples. I know other people who have actually suffered a little bit. One person I know actually quit her old job and took a new job and went independent. And now she's manufacturing, actually here's I got a sample right here. These little thank you cards. The company is called Cards That Wow, and basically it's kind of a 3D model of a thank you note. So people are getting back to writing thank you notes, and as opposed to just sending them a flat card that's not impressive. She was in I think she was in publishing sales, like newspaper art ads, and newspapers are down. So if you're, I was looking through the Pioneer Press the other day, and it's super thin because publishing is based on advertising, and when advertising goes down, the paper gets thinner because there's not the money to back up the companies, and people are moving to digital. So those are a few examples.
Gotcha. Good point. Thanks a lot. So yeah, it's interesting. I deal with in the retirement planning world, so publicly traded companies, and it's the small mom and pop shops got closed down, but the publicly traded companies got to stay open. So it's an interesting conversation for your retirement plans, but it's good to see that there still are, although my local bar may have closed down, but there are still small businesses like those of us that are on TV, and as Bruce talked about, all around. Get back to the fundamentals, do it a little better, and maybe reinvent yourself a little bit and find another spoke or an avenue that you didn't realize would work. And here we are today, and we're off and running. Well, good. Any other thoughts or concerns on that topic? All right, Carol, why don't you tell us what's going on here?
All right. Okay. So I think everybody's probably aware that yesterday, March 18th, Governor Pritzker announced an update to the Restore Illinois reopening plan, and he introduced a bridge phase designed to ease the transition from phase 4 to phase 5. So I sent out the information. You should have it in your email, and it talks about, it's got the links to the press release and the current guidelines and what the bridge guidelines are, which basically increases capacity limits in both indoor and outdoor settings. That's the bridge. And then by the time we get to phase 5, there are no capacity limits. So the bridge from 4 to 5, the bridge from phase 4 is 70% of seniors vaccinated and stable health metrics. And then to go to phase 5, we need 50% of 16 plus age residents vaccinated and stable health metrics. So it looks like it's all based on the number of vaccinations that are out there. And also people still wearing their masks and keeping their distances and still taking into account that this thing is still here. Even if you're vaccinated, you still have to be careful that you don't spread it. So hopefully we're getting there. We're doing better, and things are looking positive. There's definitely light at the end of the tunnel. We're all excited. So please be careful and check your email and make sure that you abide by those guidelines, and you can help your other contacts, keep them in the loop as well. And if you have any questions, let us know, or contact your villages on how to proceed from there. So that's exciting. Let's see what else. We had our first, a few of you had been there. We had our first live mixer on St. Patty's Day over at Scotty's in Vernon Hills. We had close to about 40 people there. It was fun, food, beverage, and just a chance for everybody to kind of see each other, which was nice. And then we're going to have another one. These are all sponsored by the Village of Vernon Hills, because we didn't have our holiday mixer that we normally have at the golf course. So we were able to hold the mixers in March and April. So our next one will be April 1st over at Jimmy's in Jimmy's Char House in Vernon Hills. So that'd be kind of fun. So mark your calendar for that. And then you will need to RSVP because we need to have the counts. So a couple other things coming up. Save the date, the GLMV golf outing. Who's ready for golf, right? Raise your hand. July 15th at White Deer Run. It'll be similar to last year's golf outing. There's golf opportunities and opportunities to sponsor a hole or beverage card, or I think Mike Ackerman's already down for his beverage card again this year. Thank you, Mike. And golfers, we're already taking RSVPs for this. So we have a great day planned for your ultimate day of golf. It's always fun. So mark your calendar and we'll see you there. A couple other things coming up. Our members are starting to do a lot more events now. Most of them are still virtual, so it's easy to just sign on. Bing Financial has some complimentary webinars that they've been doing. Great to attend those. Estate planning and business continuation planning are two that are coming up. And then we had a couple of weeks ago, we had Mitch from the Illinois Small Business Development Center. He did a presentation on the programs that the SBDC offers at no cost, virtual workshops. There's a bunch of those coming up. They're all on our calendar, and here are some here. Easy, again, just zoom on and you're there. Great information for free, so you can't beat that. What else we got? Next week, March 25th, Consumers Credit Union is doing a webinar on why we buy. So you'll get some insight into people's spending personality. That's going to be interesting. I like that one. And then Fight Hunger. There's a Northern Illinois Food Bank is doing a walk to, it's an in-person hybrid type virtual event to help fight hunger on Saturday, April 17th. So that's something to get involved in. Very important right now. As you know, also this is the St. Vincent de Paul. They have the thrift store down in Libertyville, but they're part of the big Society of St. Vincent de Paul. And they are hosting a Top Hat for virtual variety show April 18th. And this is a fundraiser for them. It's free for admission, but they're going to have some raffle prizes and other ways to get involved online. So just join in on that and see what that's all about. The Mundelein Park and Recreation District has sponsorship opportunities. And then of course our hot deals from a lot of our restaurants. Please make sure to support those. It's important. Shake Shack, Corner Bakery. Ivanhoe, if you love golf, he has a preview membership initiative for a year, no upfront initiation fee. That's cool. Sylvan has some promotions to help you build your kids and grandkids build reading foundations. And then Kirk Players, he has an event this Saturday. Staples offers all chamber members an exclusive 10% discount on in-store purchases and 20% on print and marketing. You can sign up for that. And finally, here's Mike Ackerman's, I think it's his third blood drive, April 6th and 7th. It's really a great way to help give back. Mike makes it fun, and there's a link on the website to go sign up for that. Hopefully we'll see you there. And I think that's about it. Oh, there's a job posting if you know anyone looking for a lifeguard position, summer positions over at the Libertyville Rec Department. Go for it. It sounds like a fun way to spend outside time. And remember to stay connected, shop and dine local, and support all your fellow chamber members for your product, services, and resources. Thank you. And thank you again all for joining us. And next week, our next event, C4S on April 2nd, our speaker is none other than Dennis. Dennis, are you there? He's there still?
I'm
Okay.
here.
He's going to do some coaching and leadership presentations for us. So we're excited to hear what he has to say. And again, thank you all for joining. Todd, you want to close it out?
You mentioned the governor. There also are actually trustee Jim Schultz from Vernon Hills. He's also a member of our American Legion. He's been working with getting letters out to the state representatives and then ultimately to the governor. April 18th, I believe, is the date, the middle of next month. They are going to rate, the state of Illinois is going to raise the flags. The American flags are going to get raised to the top. So that's a good day. And then that's what I had there. I thought I'd give you that update. And since we have so many, it is NCAA basketball time. You didn't already know that. And since we have so many Illinois fans and a slow Ohio State fan, that I'd end with this then.